Hello, my name is Yulissa Chavez. I am one of the event planners for First Gen Equity, and I'm here to talk to you about resumes. So get ready to learn about resumes. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen right now. All right. So this is for those of you that were unable to make it to a resume workshop we had about a couple weeks ago. First and foremost, our first question to ask ourselves is, what is a resume composed of? In other words, what is usually in a resume? So a resume is usually composed with name, experiences, honors, interests, and skills. And what we're going to do here is we're going to go through each component listed here. I also asked people in the workshop how long a person usually takes to read a resume. For example, recruiters or potential employers. They usually look at a resume for 10 seconds. And three main things that they are looking for are consistency, clarity, and quality. And we deliver all of that by having a heading that introduces us, having a professional summary, honors, and skills. So first and foremost, a heading. As you can see here, this is a heading I have on my own resume. So you do include your first and last name in big, bold letters. It should be one of the first things that a recruiter or employer sees. You should also include your contact information, including your phone number, email address, and zip code. It is also optional for you to have your customized LinkedIn URL, a website, or your actual address. I have my personal LinkedIn URL here. So when a person clicks on my name where it says LinkedIn, it takes them directly to my LinkedIn. So this is a great way to make a first impression and give the potential employer or recruiter the idea that you're detail oriented. Your academic summary is going to be about your degree and your higher education. So you should have a list of degree names and the institution in reverse chronological order. So what that means is that the one at the very top should be your most recent or your current degree. For example, I am a master's student at the LBJ School. So I have Master of Public Affairs, LBJ School of Public Affairs listed at the top. I did have my bachelor's in government at the University of Texas at Austin before. So I have that in the bottom. It is optional to have the graduation date or when you expect / anticipate to graduate. So this should be in a month-year format. As you can see here, I did graduate from UT with a bachelor's back in May 2020. However, I'm still a master's student and I'm expected to graduate in May 2024. So since all of you are presumably freshmen or lower classmen that have not received your degree yet, you should have expected or anticipated graduation on your resume. Another tip I have is that you can list the areas of expertise depending on the position you're applying for and the industry. So for example, let's say that you plan on being a teacher or you're interested in teaching or working at a school. You may want to provide that you have a minor or a certification that has to do with education. For example, after I graduated from the University of Texas at Austin with my BA, I went into teaching. And I just happened to have a certification in public policy, and I was part of the You Teach program. So I have that right under where I have my degree listed. So just to be clear, if there is a minor or a certificate, or you are part of an honors program in your college, it is definitely worth it to mention that at the bottom. Your professional summary is going to be the bulk of your resume. And your professional summary may not look super full right now. It may have things from high school, and that is perfectly normal. What we are trying to do here is we are trying to build a habit of describing and analyzing how we can tell people what we did in an achievable way. And so to do that, we have to follow these steps here. We have to include 3 to 5 sentences to describe your skills, experiences, or areas of expertise that are directly related to the position. You want to translate achievement into numbers and quantifiable data. People want to see that you meet deadlines, that you are consistently making results. Um, and also, you do want to be direct and concise. So, for example, here, this is the format you would usually follow. And you may, if you're applying for a internship, a job, you may want to use keywords in the actual job description. So we're going to see an example right now. So this is apart from sections from my own resume. And I want to go over the quantifiable data that I presented and how I did this. So right now I'm a graduate assistant and event planner, and I organize, plan, and facilitate 3 events per month. So I didn't use anything super fancy or long. All I did was I concisely stated that as a graduate assistant and event planner, I facilitate, organize, and plan 3 events per month. So what that tells people is that I meet deadlines, that I have expectations for myself that I meet in a monthly basis. Another job that I did was as an editorial illustrator and political cartoonist. It says here, illustrated national and state political news, create and publish satirical political cartoons twice weekly. So again, same approach. I basically provided the deadline that I met and how often I did that by talking about how often I did it, twice weekly. So this is how you are being subtle and how you are showing that you're detail oriented, organized, and you can meet deadlines and have a record of achievement. Uh, this section is also going to have to be organized in a way where you have your position title, the name of company, organization, research lab, and the city and state, and also the beginning and end dates, or if it is present. So for example, I have my title here, the name of the organization I worked at, the city and the state, and the duration, the beginning and the end date. You want to be sure that you make this all concise and clear. You may also want to notice, I've already said this, but I use numbers to describe my reach and my expectations. And you want to be concise and straight to the point. You want to exercise a practice where you don't use as many words as you need to. You only need to use as many words as you have to. So, for example, avoid saying twice per week when you can just say weekly. You also want to include action verbs and accomplishment statements. If there is absolutely nothing you have gotten in this resume workshop, this is the one thing that should stick with you. The bulk of your professional summary is going to include descriptions over what you did and your experiences. So you want to make sure you follow this pattern. You should not have full sentences or filler words. It is not necessary for you to have a full sentence. You should have action verb plus task plus action plus result. Again, it is about being subtle and about saying that you did something that you were good at and you made some results from it. So, in other words, your professional summary description should be about what you did, how you did it, and what was the impact or result. Another example here from my own resume is my teaching experience. As you see here, I was a world history teacher at Northeast Early College High School here in Austin, Texas, from June 20 to May 2022. I facilitated and created lessons for 100 plus students in world history classes that meet TEAC standards for students. I disciplined, maintained, prepped classroom materials and lessons for AP, on-level, and advanced classes in a restorative practice. So in my description, I described the action I took, facilitated, created, maintained, disciplined, prepped. I also talked about the task, how I met TEAC standards, how I made lessons for these different levels of classes. The result, I geared my lessons and restorative practice to 100 plus students. So again, you want to be concise and you want to be direct. And there is no need to have 5 bullet points where you say short sentences. If you can combine them to be more concise and direct, like I did here. You also want to order section experiences by relevancy. So for example, you may want to separate your experiences if they were research experiences or teacher experiences, technical experiences, etc., etc. This will make it easier for your potential employer, a recruiter, to see what kind of experience you have. You also want to have them listed in reverse, that is a typo, that should say reverse chronological order. And if you're talking about past experiences, use past verbs. If in a present, use active verbs. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about other sections in our resume. Usually in a resume, a recruiter or an employer is looking for transferable skills that you already have. Now, you may be asking, what is a transferable skill? I'm going to tell you. A transferable skill is an ability or expertise which may be used in a variety of roles or occupations. Now, most of you, if you're watching this video and you're a UT student, you most likely already have transferable skills, most likely in the form of a soft skill. So, what are the differences? There are 2 main types of skills. There are soft skills and hard skills. We're going to start off by talking about soft skills. Soft skills are personal attributes that enable someone to interact effectively and harmoniously, that's a difficult word, with other people. For example, a soft skill that most of you probably already have is communication, critical thinking, and time management. Now, because most people have these soft skills who are at UT, you're going to want to have an edge and you're going to want to have hard skills, stronger hard skills at that. And you're probably wondering, what is a hard skill? Hard skills are specific abilities or capabilities that an individual can possess and demonstrate in a measured way. So examples of this are analysis, marketing, management. Hard skills are about tangible, measurable ways to compare a result. Soft skills are basically how you get to that result. So again, if we had to pick one skill to market ourselves and to have an edge in our resume, it should be our hard skills. Soft skills are great, but most people already have these soft skills. So if you really want to have an edge, you're going to want more hard skills. Now, what we are going to do is we are going to go over optional sections that are usually in a resume. We have selected publications. So if you're interested in going into journalism or writing or marketing or any of that sort, you may want to have this in your resume. Selected presentations. Again, if you are planning on going into anything that has to do with visual aids, presentation, marketing. This would also be a suggestion I would highly recommend to have in your resume. A more common sections that people have on their resume are skills and affiliations. Skills include categories such as technical, language, administrative, etc. You can include skills in a table format to save space in some industries. For example, skills can be listed just like this. People usually also have their affiliations on their resume. So for example, what organizations, fraternities, sororities, clubs, or publications are you a part of? And I realize there is a typo, but that is okay. So when you're listing your affiliation, you want to provide that you are a member or maybe you are some kind of officer role. Another two sections that are pretty typical for people who have on their resume is their leadership and honors. So when you're discussing leadership, what you're basically doing is you're making a professional summary where you have bullet points that describes what you did. In this case, however, you're talking about how did you lead? What were the results? Basically, you're describing the experience and how you were a leader in that. And honors. Here, it looks like the name of the honor and award. Were you a scholarship recipient? Did you receive a fellowship? Did you receive some sort of other honor, such as Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts? There are a number of ways that people can list their honors, but usually people list it like this here in their skills with bullet points. And I did provide a template here for anybody who is interested in practicing their own resume. I also did provide my own contact information here. Again, I am a graduate student at the LBJ school. So if anybody's interested in specifically the nonprofit area or liberal arts, I'm more prepared for that. But I have dabbled in other colleges. Regardless, everybody should have a resume, especially if you are planning on applying for internships or scholarships in the near future. So I have provided my email here along with my phone number. I am easier to reach via text, but if not, I can always answer the phone. I also want to mention that most of this information that I got is not just from my own experience, but from the Texas Career Engagement Center. They do have appointments available for undergraduates. Unfortunately, I can't click it here, but if you just Google UT Austin, Texas Career Engagement Center, you should be taken to their homepage where you're able to make an appointment for a resume or a cover letter or an interview. So it is a great resource to have should you need help with anything. But again, I do want to be a resource if you need help or if you have questions pertaining to your specific industry or major or your field of work. I understand that certain fields do have different resumes, and that's perfectly normal. So again, if you have any questions, please contact me. But again, you got this, you can do it, and hook 'em horns.